Well, good evening, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It's the 1st of August, 2021, Sunday evening. I've been waiting 10 months for this day, but tomorrow is a move-in day. So we'll be moving into our new world headquarters here in downtown Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. This is the guts of the new studio here at our, again, downtown Bethlehem office. I was going to show a lot of video here, but it's just too cool. So it's a pretty cool, neat office, and we're excited about finally getting in here after about 10 months of heavy lifting here. So the end is near. Looking at last week summer here, so the last week of July here, hard to believe, but July is officially in the history books. Here in the U.S., last week was about 0.2 warmer than last year, warmest in 5 years, 6th warmest in 36 years, so above average here in the U.S. 25% drier than last year, driest in 19 years, so 8th driest in 36, so pretty dry. Looking at Canada, they were a little bit cooler than last year, again, a little bit wetter, but still much below average precip up across Canada. Europe a little bit cooler, again still above average. Russia warmest in 4 years, driest in 3, so very dry in parts of Russia. China also the warmest in 3. Down under, Australia 1.9 warmest in 11 years for their heart of their winter. India a little bit cooler, and Brazil just really cool again. Had some hard freezes and frost in there. A lot of their crop regions here. So coldest in 31 years, much below average, and precip similar. Maps inset left are the trends versus average. Speaking of down under here in Australia, obviously middle of their winter, so obviously their flu season, and good news, just like last year, you can see that light blue dotted line pretty much on the axis was non-existent last year. It's even epically low this year. There's just no flu whatsoever in Australia. This is good news. Again, this would be the peak, typically the peak of their flu season, and again, it's just non-existent. Part of that is, again, you could argue the mask, social distancing, and whatnot that continue. The other part of that is just it's very hard to have two competing viruses. Typically, the stronger of the two will take over, and certainly that's been the case here. So this is good news, typically a bellwether of our flu season. So we had a non-existent flu season last year, and we may have the same again here this year. Looking at a recap here of July across the world. First off, here in the U.S., we were about 1.3 degrees cooler than last year, and making it the coldest July in 6 years. So cool in that regard. But again, still 12th warmest in 36 years, so a little bit above average. Rainfall was 15% wetter than last year, making it the wettest in 36 years. So it was feast or famine, very dry in the Pacific Northwest, Northern Plains, and then wall-to-wall dry across Canada, the growing regions of Russia, obviously continued extremely dry in Brazil. So again, here in the U.S., again, cool and wet was the general theme for the U.S. overall. Starting off August here, a little bit cooler than last year, coolest in 4 years, but 16th coolest in 36 years. So below average here to start the month. It won't last long. 5% drier, driest in 6 years, 18th driest in 36 years, with some heavier rain right along the southeast U.S. coast. Looking at next week, we're going to have to start thinking about the hurricane season here. We're going into an MJO cycle that's very, very favorable for hurricane activity. So don't get lulled to sleep here. We had the fastest start for 5 named storms in history, 165 years. Had a lull here for a few weeks, but that lull may be ending here as we get into mid-August. So mid-August to, say, mid-October could get very exciting here, a lot of activity. And again, the cycles suggest we're getting close to that phase. But here, second week of August, about 1.3 degrees cooler than last year for the U.S. overall, but this time 12th warmest in 36 years. So above average. You can see that big warm swath really from the central U.S. into the east. 32% drier than last year, making the driest in 6 years, 5th driest in 36 years. So much below average precip there. Again, we'll see about all that heavy rain in the plains. Again, models have been frequently predicting that, and it's been spotty, but not consistent or widespread. Looking at the world outlook, again, just aggregating the next 14 days here across the world. Again, we can see it's pretty warm, again, across the northern tier of the U.S. and parts of Canada. Cool in extreme northeast Canada, cooling off in Europe. And map inset left is precip trends versus average. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week. We're going to have a busy week here moving in to the new offices. But pretty soon you'll get to see us from our new studios in downtown Bethlehem. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week, and we'll be back here this time next week.